One of the big misunderstandings about Celine and the way she treated Rumi has to do with the difference between the culture of the United States and the culture of South Korea. And I'm not saying that South Korea condones child abuse, to be very clear. But what I am saying is that there are certain cultural values that are very different between these two countries that help to explain why Celine acted the way she did and how she came to the conclusion that her choices were the best. Now, obviously, I'm not South Korean, and I've never even been to South Korea, so I'm basing these ideas off of research done by Geert Hofstede into the dimensions of culture. You can Google this and find a lot of interesting things about this research. I found it really fascinating. Their research started in the 1970s and 1980s and has been continuously updated since then by various researchers. And they not only identified several key factors of cultural identity and cultural beliefs, but also assigned different values to different cultures around the world as a means of comparison and understanding why people behave differently and how to reconcile those differences. Again, it's a lot of really cool stuff. I definitely recommend looking into it if this is something you're interested in. So there was an analysis done of South Korea in 1991 regarding these factors, and this is about the time the Sunlight Sisters were active in KPDH's universe, and is a little before Rumi would have been born and Celine started raising her. So I'm going to use these as sort of the benchmark for what Celine's cultural values would have been as she's trying to raise Rumi. Now, the first factor I want to look at is collectivism versus individualism. This says, as a society, do we value the individual rights and individual freedom, or do we place more emphasis on the community and doing what's best for others? It's probably no surprise to you that the United States ranks very high on individualism. We put a lot of emphasis on the individual rights, individual achievement, all that kind of thing. South Korea, on the other hand, in the 1991 study, ranked very low in individualism as a very highly collectivist society, meaning that a South Korean would be more likely to sacrifice their own desires and their own achievements for the good of those around them, the good of the community. The other factor I want to talk about is uncertainty avoidance. How likely is it that a culture will accept ambiguity and uncertainty? The United States ranks kind of in the middle on this factor, so there is some tolerance for ambiguity and uncertainty, but we're not going to embrace anarchy. South Korea, on the other hand, has a very high level of uncertainty avoidance, meaning they do not want to have any ambiguity, and so they set up a lot of rules and traditions and things so that you always know what you're supposed to be doing and there's not really any question or risk. And when we apply these factors to Celine, I think we can start to see why she did what she did and why she believed she was making the right choice in the way that she raised Rumi. From a collectivist standpoint, Celine has a very strong duty to her community, which in her case